Good morning, guys, and welcome to another episode of Cocoa in the Sun podcast. I am your host, Malika Critchlow. I'm very excited to be here today. Very grateful. So I have to do this episode over because I recorded it yesterday, but half of it I thought it was recording and I didn't hit record. So half of it is there and half isn't. I uploaded it to YouTube. Please remind the dog. I had uploaded it to YouTube and to Spotify and Apple. And then so I normally check the video before I upload, but I was like, it's always fine, right? So last night I was like, okay, let me look at the YouTube video. And I was like, wait, why is it in the middle of what I was saying? Like, there's no greeting, anything. So I realized that I hadn't pressed record in the beginning. And I was like, okay, well, I could just leave this. Maybe the part that was missed was probably not supposed to be sad. And then I was like, no, I think her whole message is important. And maybe there's an understanding that I get today that I didn't get yesterday. There's a reason why. Maybe it wasn't meant to post yesterday, the one it was supposed to post. I don't know. I trust these things when these things happen. I don't know what the reason is. So we're going to do it over today, which I'm not even upset about because I really like reading it. Of all the books, I think this one is the one I'm most excited about. Um, that I really, really like to do is really like to hear what her message is. And I feel really connected to her. So I don't know. So I'm just gonna do it today and see. So what's the vibes today? So the vibes, anyway, it's the morning. I'm gonna have some coffee. Did I tell you guys have coffee with you? Coffee in the morning, which is a rainbow cup that I have. Yeah, no, I really like rainbows. Did anybody find anything about Blu-rays? I really am intrigued with that. I feel connected to that too. But anyway, so today is the new moon. And last night, well, whole yesterday, I didn't want to watch a lot of TV or media. Because sometimes they have these channels that I do like, like the Angel Channel and Tucker, or some people I do connect with, I tend to connect with people that channelers that channel angels. Um, but I like John of New as well. I think he is a lot of where I am, how I look at most things. So I really like his channel. Um, I like Aunt Tucker. I like this lady called, I think Lady of the Forest 444. Cindy. Her name is Cindy. I really like her. Um, like the other channels, there's a lot of other channels. Like I just will find, sometimes it's just on your algorithm and you find some cool messages. Probably not to see again, but because you may need it that day or what have you. But I just didn't want any media at all yesterday. Spend a lot of time just with my own thoughts and just doing stuff around the house and errands and stuff like that, and trying to listen to my heart and what my heart wants. And and so then I woke up this morning. I woke up early this morning and I don't know, I just was like kind of like, I don't want to say unhappy, but like, you know what? I just really don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know what to look forward to. Because I don't know. I don't know if anything that I've seen for myself, if any understandings that I have gotten is valid, or it's just my mind giving me more stuff that I like, and just, my mind has its own algorithm. Like it's like, or is it like really like stuff because I'm connected to different aspects of myself, more aspects of myself, or I can hear more clearly what's for me. Mm. And yeah, so I was like in that space this morning, and I was like, if it is that, then that would be so sad because this is an enjoyable time. And then okay. And the other aspect was fine too. I found joy there. Not as much, but I could find joy there, right? Like if life is what it was before all of these new understandings came in, I was content in that life mostly, and I know how to be content there. But it would have been like sad if the things I saw for myself weren't really for myself, it was just my mind playing a little game. So I was in that headspace this morning, and you know what too? I haven't been having dreams that I remember. Like I feel like the past few weeks I would have, not every day, but a good few times for the week, I would have like 3 or 4 dreams a night, and then getting like amazing understandings. I think too, like, the love bliss experiences that I've had prior, I haven't been able to get back there again. They've all occurred mostly in my dream wake state, but I have been able to feel more love, right? My love state, I've been able to expand it, just not to what that bliss state was. So to think that that wouldn't exist, so I wouldn't have that, or all of that, I was like, not sad, but it would have been really great, right? And I was like, okay, well, if life is what it was before these things occurred, before the QHHT, it wasn't awful. I was pretty content, you know. It just wasn't as expanded and cool. So I was in like that headspace this morning, and I fell back to sleep and had like 3 dreams. I was like, oh, yeah, so I'm still dreaming. After about a week of not remembering dreams. When I say like, so I could have been dreaming for the past week or so and just not remembering. Because sometimes I think you're clearing stuff or getting understandings, but like I find the breath is more important to me these days too. Like I'm enjoying breathing more. Like so breathing used to be like just automatic. I didn't even think about it. But now like I'm enjoying it more. Like, the cool air entering your lungs, going down, breathing out, all the sense that you're breathing in. Anyway, so um sometimes you just don't remember the dream. So it's not to say you're not dreaming, because you could be claiming stuff and all that. It's just not stuff, or maybe it's too traumatic for you to actually relive, or I don't know. Then, the high aspects of yourself or your guides or your angels, whatever it is you think it is. For me, I consider them guides and angels and teachers, and aspects of my own divinity, of my own eternal self, assisting me with this journey. So I think when I'm not dreaming or not remembering the dreams, right? It doesn't mean I'm not dreaming. It means that a lot of times I'm not remembering the dreams. I had a conversation with a friend. I was like, you have any dreams? She was like, I'm not having anything I remember. So I was like, okay, it's not that it's not occurring. It's not remember. It was like, a confirmation for me. Um, so, and I feel so much better since I woke up again, right? So also it's the new moon, I was trying to say. So the new moon is my favorite. But also like sometimes I feel the full moon as well. It depends on what it's doing. But the new moon for me, I always connect with the new moon, like to the point where I would leave my window open because I just want to be under the sky. Like I want access to the sky during that time. No other time of the month I feel like that. But when it comes to new moons, that time. So the day before usually is heaviest for me, and then the day of is really a beautiful day. So I think that's what it was. I think I was probably dealing with whatever the changing of the moons and the phases yesterday and this morning. And so now I feel like I'm probably into the new vibe for the new moon. And it feels good. It feels very hopeful. The dreams, the three dreams, pretty cool. And I don't know, I feel just revitalized and very joyous and happy and hopeful that all that I thought was for me is for me. The synchronicities. I've been getting synchronicities, yo. Like they're giving me synchronicities up the wazoo. I'm just not seeing anything occur in my reality. I haven't seen anything occur in about 2 or 3 weeks. So it's kind of waning a little bit, but I'm getting synchronicities. They're letting me know, like, this is for you. Like, yeah, this is confirmation. Um, but yeah, I was like, my mind just looking for things. And it's not so. But no, right. So since I woke up and I had those dreams, I do feel revitalized and hopeful and looking forward to what's to come. And even if it's not what I think it is or what I want, I can't stay in this spot forever, right? It has to move. Like it has to move. I'm ready for my being to be some sort of doing, just a doing that I love doing. So yeah, I'm like, I know like everything takes time and we can't see the whole layout and everything will come in its divine time. But I gotta get doing something. Even if those things don't come, I need to be doing something. I'm tired. Okay, I need someone to be doing. So yeah. So that's it. That's it. I feel really good, even if the stuff isn't what I want it to be or what I think it'll be. I think it'll still be great. I feel hopeful and joyous and excited for what's to come again. Excited to do this podcast. I think it was weird that I had to scrap yesterday's and now do it. So I don't think that's by mistake or accident. I just don't know why. So anyway, so let's get back. Okay, so the last time I'm having my coffee with you. Today is a morning podcast, not an evening. Let me drink my coffee. I'm sorry if I'm slipping. Wow, it's just so good. I don't want to condensed milk, an ode to Auntie June, my auntie that loved me that's no longer with me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't use to put condensed milk in my coffee before. I used to use creamer. Um, and I tried carnation milk, but condensed milk since I started doing the ode to Auntie Joe, and the condensed milk is it. Okay, a little spoon or two. All right. So in the last thing that we were at, she was saying that I think I'll be the last two paragraphs so we kind of remember and then we start. What do you think? Okay. So she had said, in the secrets of the elevation of consciousness through sacred sex, as was practiced by I and Yeshua, has been stolen by the church. I realized that the sharing of my I realized in the sharing of my story that only a handful will understand, but that is enough. And so today she's going to start telling us the secrets of the sex magic of Isis. Yeah. Okay. So I wish now to reveal some of the secrets of the sex magic of Isis. As I said earlier, it is possible to scale the heights of consciousness alone, without partnership. And in this, the alchemies of Horus were designed to assist the initiate. I think I'm gonna put my glasses on, guys. However, for those in partnership, sacred relationship, the sex magic of Isis was revealed. There are several aspects to this I wish to discuss. The first of these is the understanding that at the moment of orgasm, magnetic fields, let me make sure I'm recording. Okay. At the moment of orgasm, magnetic fields are generated. In truth, these fields are created through what you would call foreplay, the stimulation of the senses through touch. This sensory stimulation begins the process of building the magnetic fields and is crucial to the alchemical practice of sex magic. There are several methods available to initiates, but I will discuss some of these, but essential to the practice is the understanding of the nature of the interaction of the two alchemical elements within the man and the woman. On a mundane level, the semen of the man carries the information of his genetic lineage, which is passed on to the child. When the sperm within his semen joins with the egg of the woman, life is created. And life is a complex interconnecting of magnetic fields. The growing child within the womb develops organs and systems, but at the magnetic level, these can be viewed as interconnecting complex vibrational magnetic fields. And so at the mundane level, the act of sex creates new patterns of magnetics. Initiates trained in alchemy use the sexual energy to also create complex magnetic fields. But these fields do not become a new being, a child. They become incorporated into the core bodies of the two initiates themselves, strengthening and elevating their core bodies. This is the first essential point to understand. Everything revolves around this. So everything revolves around the strengthening of the core body and the elevating of the core body, right? That instead of creating a child, you're using those magnetic fields to strengthen your core body, your energy body. We know the energy body is important from the other previous books. It affects our whole outcomes, our realities. The task of the initiate within this system that Yashua and I were trained in is to strengthen the core body beyond the confines of the physical form or cat, which is your physical body. Cat is your physical body. Ka is your energy body. The next level to understand has to do with the emotional tuning of the female initiate. For the female initiate's receptivity is dependent upon her emotional state. This is part of her nature and cannot be sidestepped if these techniques are to work. So, in order for the female to receive, it's affected by her emotional state. She has to feel safe and loved. Okay, so the alchemy is created by the joining of the male initiate's ka and the female initiate's ka. As they make love, the ka bodies interconnect, and this causes the female to open her magnetic floor. This is a strange term. It comes from the language used in the temples of Isis. The floor is the foundation upon which one stands. When we set something to be secure, we place it on the floor. So the floor was used as a type of slang within the temples, referring to the very basic piece that is required. So when I say the female's magnetic floor, I am saying that this is the fundamental piece that has to occur. So the fundamental piece is the opening of a magnetic floor. This occurs when the car bodies of the male and female initiates interconnect. As the two initiates continue in their lovemaking, and as the passion of their connecting increases, powerful chemicals are released in the brain and the body. These transport the initiates into another space than their normal ways of being. This further opens the magnetic fields and generates an increase in magnetics. There are two options to the male initiate at the moment of orgasm. He can ejaculate or hold his seat. If he ejaculates and the previous conditions have been met, there is an instantaneous reaction that occurs within the womb of the female. As the energetic essence of his sperm strikes the walls of her inner sanctum, there is an explosion of magnetic energy, worlds within worlds spinning. And to the extent that the male initiate has attained a high status, as well as the female, the magnetics released from such contact between such sexual fluids can be enormous. So it is important to understand that this creates complex magnetics that both the male and female can draw into their bodies. A second phenomenon occurs in which the female initiate may begin to shake uncontrollably. As she shakes, the center of it is usually the womb itself, which sets off a cascade, a rocking effect in the pelvis. This action also creates very complex magnetic fields, again, which the male and female initiates can draw into their car bodies. This is the fundamental or basic understanding. So the basic understanding we have is if there's love and the female feels safe, he's saying female. The woman feels safe, but not everybody. Okay. The woman feels safe and can surrender to the male and allow her, her magnetic floor to open. They have sex, and the seed is released it into her inner sanctum. This creates an explosion of magnetic energy, worlds within worlds. Okay. And if the woman orgasms to the point where she is shaking uncontrollably, this rocking effect in the pelvis also opens up very complex magnetic fields. And so this is not even talking about, and if they think about it in their car body, they can draw it into their car body, the energy field. So that's just one level. That's the first level. That's even if you don't want to imagine what she's going to tell you, that you can visualize to do more with the elevating consciousness. Okay, that's just basic sex. That includes love and emotional support and safety. And just, just thinking of your car body, okay, in the process. As initiates, it is possible to also cause the serpent. This is the second part. And I think this, this, I feel like this will take some practice because, it can draw your attention away from the act. So I don't know. I'm curious how it affects the whole process. But this is the second part now. As initiates, it is possible to also cause the serpent powers to rise within the spine during the sex act, and wherever the two serpents meet will tend to magnetize that chakra and its attendant abilities or powers. More than this, I am not permitted to say, since the attainment of this practice can lead to a significant increase in one's powers. I leave it to those who read this and to see I read it to those who read this to see between the lines. If you are ready for this practice, you will know how it's done. That's curious. I think I know what she's saying though, how to. That's kind of cool. In training of both the sex magic of Isis and the alchemies of Horus, initiates would be trained in the basic exercises of the two serpents. In this practice, the initiate alone generates energy through the power of Ra as the internal power to create an elevation in awareness, to create complex magnetic fields within his or her own body, and then to bring these into the cup. I wish to share this method. It is the core practice for both those who wish to do this work alone and for those who wish to do this work in partnership. The fundamental practice requires that the initiate sit upright, breathing in a rhythmic, calm manner. Then the initiate becomes aware of the base of the spine and on the breaths, draw the black serpent rising. I feel like I skip a page. The initiate becomes aware of the base of the spine and on the breaths, draws the black serpent rising from the left and the gold serpent rising from the right up the spine. As the two serpents enter each chakra, they cross over, making their way to the crown. But in this practice, the two serpents are brought up to the center of the head, to the vicinity of the pineal gland. The initiate then, using the power of the breath, sends the energy of the inhales into the serpents, and then with the exhales, send the energy of the breath deeper into the serpentine bodies, causing them to become alive, so to speak. Eventually, they will rise or move from the power of the breath and the intention of the initiate. This is your imagination, right? And you visualize this. At this point, a chalice is imagined inside the head, with the two serpents facing off each other at the lip, the pineal gland resting at the bottom of the chalice. The next phase draws the energy of Ra upward. The initiate imagines a living ball of fire, like the sun, at the solar plexus, and with each exhale, the initiate silently repeats or intones the sound Ra. This causes the light, the fire of the internal Ra, to be activated, and it spontaneously begins to move up. As this light and heat moves upward, it passes through the center of the chalice between the two serpents up to the crown of the head. From here, a most remarkable phenomenon occurs. From the left side of the crown, an energy descends that is liquid-like in its nature. This liquid is called the red serpentine drops. From the right side of the crown, another liquid-like energy comes down into the chalice called the white serpentine drops. It is the heat and the light of the internal Ra that causes the crown to secrete these substances. The red serpentine drops are related to the biological mother of the initiate. The white serpentine drops are related to the father of the initiate. As the two mix together, several things can occur. There can be the sensation of a sweet taste in the back of the throat, with what the yogis and yoginis call amrita, but which we in this Isis cult refer to as the spring waters, for they seem to come from the spring within the head. Sometimes this is the first presentation. And if an initiate focuses upon the sensation of the spring waters, a kind of ecstasy arises. Sometimes the initiate senses light in the head. Again, if they focus upon this light, a kind of ecstasy arises. Sometimes, as the red and white serpentine drops mix, there is a spontaneous arising of ecstasy. This ecstasy, no matter what caused it, is crucial to this alchemy, for ecstasy is food and nourishment to the car body. Let me highlight that. There is a tendency for this ecstasy to remain in the highest centers, since this is where they were birthed in this practice. But in this method, upon the first rising of ecstasy, the initiate must shift his or her awareness to the entire car body itself. This causes the ecstasy to spread throughout the entire physical body cat and is then absorbed by the car, strengthening and revitalizing it. This is the basic fundamental practice. For those in partnership practicing the sex magic of Isis, the ecstatic states naturally arise. For those in solitary practice, the ecstasy must be self-generated. So I think that one is for self-generation, that focusing on the golden and black snake. This method that she just gave was the self-generated ecstasy to build a car. Both practices, however, require that the initiate become aware of the car during moments of ecstasy so that the car body can partake of the rich magnetic fields generated by such bliss. And I think in partnership, the orgasm creates that ecstasy. I think so. Let's read and find out. I should know, right? Because I read it yesterday. Let me have some coffee. In a very real sense, the male initiate faces the greatest challenges in the practice of the sex magic of Isis, for it requires that he seemingly go against his own nature. By nature, the male is electric from an alchemical standpoint, and the female is magnetic. It is the nature of electricity to move and to act, while it is the nature of magnetics to nest, enfold. In the practice, the focus becomes the strengthening of the car body through the incorporation of magnetic fields released by the sex act. Right after orgasm, the magnetic fields generated by the female initiate continue to unspiral and circulate. This is a time to rest and be with the magnetics. But by nature, males tend to either get up and do something or go to sleep. So the male initiate must train himself to nest, to allow the magnetics that have been created to spiral into his car and his body. This is different from what occurs normally, for in the male, orgasm is confined to the pelvic area, and in some cases it spreads. But for the female initiate, especially one who has been able to relax into the experience, the orgasm spreads through the entire body and can continue in various levels of intensity for several hours. Some male initiates might be concerned that by changing themselves, by nesting, they will become less masculine. But I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. For the truth is that as the male initiate nests in the magnetics, his car body becomes stronger and his sexual energy becomes more potent. One of the tasks for the male initiate is to sensitize himself to new levels of feeling so that he can incorporate the magnetic fields released through sex into his own body and car. To clarify the term nesting, it does not mean that the male's member remains inside the female necessarily. It does mean that the male remains close to the female, touching, stroking, being with the physical sensations and the emotions after orgasm. It is through the portal of nesting that the male initiate is able to enter the feminine mysteries of creation. Another aspect that the male initiate needs to be aware of is what is called adoration of the beloved. As the alchemy of the sex magic becomes stronger, there are certain signs that occur. One of these is that the beloved becomes adored or cherished. This happens both for the male and female initiate. When adoration of the beloved occurs from both partners, the alchemy and sex magic greatly intensifies. For the harmonics and magnetics created by such emotion are very beneficial to the magic. I would like to speak to the term magic at this time. The reason the term magic is used refers to the transformation of the individual human into a god. This is indeed magic. It is symbolized by the god Horus, part man, part hog, and through the practices of alchemy is raised to the status of the high god Horus, meaning that one has attained the most elevated states of consciousness. So the sex magic of Isis is precisely a method for the elevation of consciousness, which is in itself magic. And this is done through the energies and ecstasy created through sex. The other reason the term magic is used is that there are methods, once the car body is potentized, that one can use to affect one's reality in very direct ways in methods that seem magical. Take, for instance, the basic core practices of the alchemies of Horus, the raising of the black and gold serpents up the spine, the creation of the chalice, the activation of the internal fire of Ra, and the meeting of the red and white serpentine drops are all acts of magic, acts of intent in both personal and spiritual will. This is why it is referred to as magic. Returning to the paradox facing the male initiate, we find that his nature works against him to a certain extent in these practices, specifically the sex magic. For once a male initiate's car is charged, he, by nature, wants to act, to do something. Yet, if he can discipline himself, train himself to continue lying with his beloved, he can nest himself in the rich magnetics created through their love, their sex, and strengthen the car to a greater extent. There is another aspect facing the male initiate in this process, and it has to do with what we in the temples refer to as obstacles of flight, but which in your language is best stated as psychological issues. The term obstacles of flight refers to hindrances to the unfolding of one's Horus nature, the aspects specifically that can fly upward into elevated states of consciousness. Okay. There are attitudes, beliefs, and emotional habits that are counterproductive to flight, or the elevation of consciousness, which is what we refer to when we say obstacles to flight. It is here for the male initiate that one of the most intricate passages requiring great skill occurs. As a child, the male was carried by his mother in her womb and protected and nurtured by his mother in his infancy until the point where he had autonomy and could act for himself. At this point, the male child pushes the mother away, so to speak, in order to face the world. It is at this juncture in his development that he may feel confined or limited by his mother, and a battle of wills can ensue. As a man, as a male initiate, he may still carry these emotional habits with him. If this is the case, he will find it difficult to relax into the nesting of the magnetic fields since at a psychological level, it is experienced as surrendering to the feminine. If the male initiate has issues with his mother of childhood, he may engage these consciously or unconsciously with his partner. It is important for both initiates undertaking the sex magic of Isis to realize that they are embarking on a long journey and that the process is essentially one of alchemy. The process of alchemy is to transform one substance into another. It does this by burning off the dross or the negativity of a substance so that the pure substance remains or is created. In the process of sex magic of Isis, the substances transformed are literally the sexual fluids, hormones, neurotransmitters, and other substances not yet discovered by your science. But it also involves a transformation of one's psychology. By nature, the sex magic of Isis steps up the alchemical process. The heat gets turned up, so to speak. The dross becomes clear. That which needs to be purified comes painfully into focus. If one does not understand that this is one of the byproducts of alchemy, one might be disturbed by the arising of difficult psychological material. But actually, this is one of the results of the internal pressure created through the intense alchemy generated through the sex magic of Isis, causes the car body to extrude or press out of itself all impurities and to clear itself of all obstacles of flight. I think I'm getting from this is like all your defense mechanisms may come up, all your negative thoughts and feelings about yourself and others, self-acceptance, love of self, love of others, all of this could come up in this to be cleared in order for the truest form of yourself to be free. In those practicing alone without a partner, the alchemies of Horus also create internal pressure, extruding impurities. But the task is more difficult in that the energy required comes from one's own personal efforts. And there is not the benefit of reflection from another. However, it can be done. So when you're by yourself, when you're by yourself, you have to recognize your defense mechanism and your negative thoughts in order to clear it. But if you're with a partner, you have to face it because they're gonna tell you, why are you feeling like this? Why don't you want to do this? Why are you being grumpy? Why you want to argue about this? All these things, right? Somebody else can reflect to you how you are interacting. So that's the benefit of having a partner to do this. Oh, I can't believe I read all of this yesterday. Maybe I'm supposed to break it down. Okay, this is the basic understanding required for the practice of the sex magic of Isis. In the previous pages, I have revealed to you the secrets of the ages and one of the most closely guarded secrets of the temples of Isis, understanding that these practices was reserved for the most advanced students. Whether one practices the solitary path through the alchemies of Horus or the path of sacred relationship through the sex magic of Isis, one is stepping upon the road to godhood. The central key in this journey is the strengthening of the car through ecstatic states of consciousness. Whether self-generated or created through the ecstasy of sex does not inherently matter. The car is nurtured and potentized by ecstatic states regardless of their source. On the contrary, shame is a poison to the car body, a toxic element that decreases its vitality and potency. I, an initiate of Isis, find it tragic that the church has shamed women and men around their sexual natures and closed a door on one of the most direct paths to God realization. Whatever you do along the path, my advice is to free yourself of all shame. Search out the catacombs of your own mind and heart. Seek out the dark places in yourself where shame resides and remove it. Find every opportunity to create ecstasy, for it strengthens you and potentizes the car. May the obstacles to your flight be few and the blessings along your journey be many. I wonder if I should stop here. I think I should stop here. Yeah, I think this needs to be broken down. It doesn't need to be one whole. Yeah. This stops right. So I started at 20, this is 27, so 7 chapters, and then 7 to 33 is another 7. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop here. Yeah. Maybe they wanted it broken up. Maybe that's why maybe I read too much yesterday. So maybe it's supposed to be broken up to be more digestible. Feeling to stop here, so I'm going to stop here today. Anyway, guys, these days are up and down. Well, for me anyway, really high, good times, and a lot of positivity and hope. And then for most of the time, and then I have days where I don't know. And the range, it's not like one or two, right? It gets different ranges throughout the days and the weeks. So I wish you joy in your journey. I will be here tomorrow because I did one Thursday because the one yesterday was scrapped. So I'll do the rest tomorrow of this section and we'll talk again. I hope you have a great day. I hope you know that you are loved, that you are loved, that you take time with yourself, that you're gentle with yourself, that you forgive yourself, that you accept yourself. Because this makes the world a better place with you in it, of course. So take time with yourself, yo. Have a great day. We'll talk again. Bye.